Howdy. Well, I've made it another week, and I hope you people out there made it too. It sometimes can be a bit trying, can't it? And in some places they're starting to relax the isolation rules slightly, but not in the UK. Oh no, they're talking about it going on quite a bit longer. What a surprise. And what I have seen makes no sense, but there it is. They're trying to relax the rules on marriage so that they can have a controlled ceremony. Really. The way the marriage laws are basically against the man, that ceremony should be cancelled indefinitely. And it's funny how maturity kind of changes your mind. Because I remember when I was a very, very young man, and I used to see these weddings, how colorful and how happy everybody seemed. And in my town where we were, the people used to decorate all their cars in flowers and drive round town beeping their horns. And of course, yes, dragging cans behind them, or beer cans usually. And at the time when I was so young, I used to think it was a very great ceremony where two people were bonding together, giving each other their lives, and to spend the rest of their lives together, sharing everything. And at the time I thought the man was very lucky to find a female that was willing to join him in his life. But it's just smoke and mirrors, isn't it? It was smoke and mirrors then, and it's definitely smoke and mirrors now. Because it's not so much them joining together and partnering in their lives. It's more like the man joining the female life. He's the one who's going to have to make all the changes. You don't see too many women change very much after marriage. The man will just become part of her life. He will just be an extension of his wife. There are a few marriages I see over time that are fairly equal, and they do actually work, but very few. Mostly, it's the man who gives up everything for the female. His drinking with his friends, his hunting, his fishing, working on cars, any hobbies he may have will be kind of frowned upon because his hobbies aren't really doing anything for the female, are they? And of course he'll build a beautiful home doing all the manual work usually, and then will be alienated to the garage or a cabin in the back of the garden. They may have some barbecues and some functions, which will be organized probably by the female, who's actually coming and who's not, and then she'll use that opportunity to belittle her husband in front of everybody at these functions. Not quite the marriage I envisioned when I was a very, very young man, and not the vision they certainly portray about marriage. And of course, children may be born through this marriage, and they're the man's children and the female's children, until something goes radically wrong, where they separate. And now it's just the female's children, not the man's, because he has no real rights to them in the court of law. And I'm just wondering, because I've seen my friends who are very bright, active, imaginative people who got married, and after 15 years of marriage were kind of like a dead husk of the person I used to know. And that got me wondering, how many Einsteins were smothered through marriage and never got to know their real potential? And of course, when I was a very young man, we were kind of naive, and things were very hidden for a good reason. But now things are fairly well out in the open, but men are still getting married for whatever reason. Maybe they're insecure, maybe they just need a mother figure, or maybe they're a gambling man. But I guess it's like the Titanic. They all couldn't wait to get onto the Titanic, could they? They probably spent loads of their money to get a seat, probably all their money, just to be on the Titanic. If only they knew the future. So, let me know what it's like in your area. Are you still in isolation? Are they still really enforcing the rules very deeply? They are in the UK at the moment. No sign of them lifting it either. And of course, spousal abuse and violence has spiked. And I kind of knew that would happen. Because some relationships and marriages that last a long time, they hardly saw each other. And that's why it worked. That's why when you're in the army, marriages last longer. Because he only comes home every so often. Make sure he doesn't come home to surprise her, because he might get a big surprise himself. Care for a woman. Have fun with a female. But never ever trust them. When I was a younger man, I did, and was let down badly nearly every time. I'm not bitter. I just know very well the female nature. It's not what they portray. For those men who are getting married still, c'est la vie.